Good morning, everyone. We'll start by looking at the tornado reports for the last 24 hours. Those active thunderstorms that we talked about yesterday did produce a cluster of tornadoes in several places. So here's Minneapolis right here. So we're talking about the extreme southeast corner of the state of Minnesota, kind of surrounding Rochester right there. Mayo Clinic. And Albert Lee, there was a supercell that produced some tornadoes there. One that kind of skipped right south of La Crosse, Wisconsin there. And another one in kind of a national forest area there north of Rochester. Of course, we won't know the intensity of those tornadoes until surveys are done. Now, that exact same area or close to it could be under the gun again today. Let's take a look at Thursday's visible satellite loop here. We're seeing a wave that's passing through the southern United States, producing some thunderstorms, many of which have kind of died away, but there's even some more activity here early this morning off the coast there, off the coast of Florida. We still have this stream here. Now, the southern end of this little mini atmospheric river is kind of dying away a little bit. New Mexico got their rain, but the northern end of this is still quite active, as you can see by the billowing showers and thunderstorms going on there right now. So, if we switch to the severe thunderstorm outlook for today, it's all over the place. It's kind of interesting, kind of a horseshoe pattern here. And then certainly that same area is a level 2 out of 5 today, slight risk. Also another area up there in Montana, but we can zoom in on that one and you can see all the tornado reports I just showed you were right here. So this area, and actually expanded more east and south, is under the gun today for all modes of severe weather. So modes just means one or all of the three: tornadoes, large hail, quarter size or larger, or winds 59 mile per hour or gusty or higher. That's what the severe thunderstorm criteria is. So first of all, that, and then if you look at the tornado probabilities, they're actually fairly high for this time of year. 5%, but not necessarily high for the northern plains for this time of year. But again, that's where the tornadoes were reported yesterday. So we're going to expand that to places like central Wisconsin, Madison, maybe even Waterloo, Iowa, Mason City, that same area for today. If we look at Nadocast, it wants to put a bullseye right there, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota border. Again, that's where that tornado, so La Crosse, Wisconsin, is right in that area. So that's interesting. That's a 10% chance. That's the 0Z model data. So this is moving off of information that was acquired last night at 7 o'clock and run. So I'll be watching that today and see if the 12Z run, which is occurring from data right now, changes that any. But it's interesting. But we always try to find backup for this. So the CSU, Colorado State University machine learning model does put a kind of a more of a broad brush paint of it in that area, southern Wisconsin, a little chunk of Minnesota and Iowa, and looking at wind reports that could be pretty high there in northwest Illinois and also through Georgia. Now, two different things. This is more of a synoptically driven system, meaning there are fronts involved, linear type of structures. We'll show you the radar forecast here in a minute. And then these are more thunderstorms that form and then collapse with severe wind possibilities. So two different types of situations. Here's the HRRR simulated radar till 1 a.m. So you can start to see these thunderstorms building in this area here. And you'll notice they form a line. Some of them could be individual supercells. And then by 1 a.m. here, they approach Milwaukee. I'll run this loop one more time here. So again, you got a few isolated cells like that guy, those two right there, and then this linear system here that by 1 a.m. gets almost to the Milwaukee area and actually sags down into portions of Missouri later on. Now, switching ahead to Friday, tomorrow, level 2 out of 5 chance. Right in the heart of the Dakotas and also a small sliver of Minnesota. A little tornado risk involved in that too when storms initially fire from, let's say, Bismarck to Pierce. So this area here has been busy the last couple of weeks. If you remember, they had the devastating tornado outbreak and the derecho wind event up there. So yeah, those folks are getting some stormy weather here lately, and that's only going to change slightly over the next couple of days. CSU is putting a bullseye of a 5% tornado probability there in North Dakota, along with some wind. Hail is not looking particularly bad, but there are patches of it where it could be excessive. And then getting into the weekend, Saturday, we have again this same wash, rinse, repeat. The same weather system kind of moves over the same area. Now it's approaching Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, down into Nebraska, level 2 out of 5 in that area. There is a tornado risk with that. It's covering much of Minnesota. The wind risk is a little bit reduced there, but again, there's room between now and Saturday to tweak that a little bit. Then as we get into Sunday, the Storm Prediction Center, that's always posted here, is not saying anything on a 15% risk, whereas this model does say something, so you can use that as a guide. So if the forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center see this as being viable, then they will issue their forecast probably somewhere close to where that yellow is there. There's rarely any massive disagreement there. And on Monday, that kind of moves, and you can get, again, there's a progression to this stuff, so you can see there's a slow-moving frontal system that's moving the severe weather threat east-southeast with each day is from Detroit down to Champaign, Illinois, let's say Indianapolis, those areas on Monday. And then on Tuesday, all the way off to the east coast. And if you look in the upper levels, and I did not grab that chart this morning, but there is definitely a push of cooler, drier air up and through this area here that's defining this. So on Wednesday, again, the high is right here. You can see how it carves out. And already the return flow on this side is already boosting the severe weather threats back in Wyoming and the Dakotas again. So let's take a look. This is the supercell forecast for the next 7 days, including today. So it definitely highlights, it basically should come pretty close to mirroring where all those forecasts I just show you should be. And it does, really. So we just have this nice little belt here. And then you can see on the July 3rd through July 9th period, that little high is temporary because that entire week does put a fairly high focus back on severe weather in a place where it should be found this time of year and getting into summer now, summer months. And on July 10th, it moves north a little bit more with the emphasis on the Dakotas. That's a 3-week forecast, so yeah, a little bit of a grain of salt with some of that stuff. But a lot of times the trend is actually fairly accurate. Thanks for watching today's edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. This is published every day after the morning Storm Prediction Center update. Also, remember to check that site off on day 1 because they update it fairly frequently. If you like this video, please like it. Also, you can subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.